Well, this is kind of a fun CEOs You Should Know, talking to John Halper of Top 10 Liquors. Now, I'm sure they've been helped a little bit by the pandemic, but still in that time, they've had a lot of key decisions to make and certainly some challenges, as they always have had. So let's sit down and talk to John Halper from Top 10 Liquors.
This is Twin Cities CEO You Should Know, powered by iHeartMedia.
All right, CEOs You Should Know, and well, tell us your name, your title, and the company name.
John Halper. I am the owner and CEO of Top 10 Liquors.
Wow, that's got to be amazing, right? Is that what all your friends said when you got into this? Like, dude, can we hang out even more?
You know, I had a varied background, and I think my friends were like, really, this is what you're going to do next? You're going to buy liquor stores? And now I think they look back and see a really productive business, and it's fun.
So you went to law school.
Yes.
As my wife did. We got to talk later. I mean, law school's changing, of course, but you went to law school, and
Yes.
then 30 years of experience in the various industries, including practicing law. So I just expand a little bit more on your path to Top 10.
So I'm originally a corporate lawyer and eventually moved from New York, where I started practicing, back to Minneapolis, and then eventually moved over to Wilson's Leather. One of my parents was CEO there, and joined the company initially doing real estate, worked my way around the company, and eventually went out on my own. I sort of fell in love with retail there, had a great retail experience, and went from there to Target Corporation, where I was in the buying area of the business, learned a ton there in my time, and had a lot of fun. And one day, a friend of the family introduced me to another company that was in a similar line that I was buying for at Target. I joined them. They were a distributor, a video game distributor, and helped build that business. And we did well there, and I was able to build a little bit of a fund to be able to go out and buy my own business. And I started looking at different retail businesses, because at that point I had a lot of retail experience, and eventually found a small chain of 4 liquor stores that I felt really suited me and kind of what I wanted to do well. I wasn't looking to buy liquor stores. I was really just looking for retail, but found these 4 stores and this owner who had a really great business that he was operating, fell in love with it, got to know him, which was a big way that I succeeded in being able to buy the stores from him, and took over those 4. And that was about 7.5 years ago.
So I think 2013 is what they told me. So is that right? 7.5?
Maybe 2014.
Somewhere in there.
Yep.
So tell me how you've grown in that time. Now you've got 12 locations and over 200 employees.
Correct. Well, I mean, I had a great nucleus of a business. So I started off with 4 stores that were really strong, successful stores. Interestingly, when I bought my original stores was when Total Wine was just coming to the market, which I think really plays a part in our development and growth, because they've been so impactful in the market, and they've really been a great retailer in the market, but we've grown up competing with them. And I think that has been a big part of our formula to be able to grow is every day waking up and having a formidable competitor and needing to develop a model to compete not just with them but across the market, and really honing what we do and becoming experts at it, and then eventually working towards a meaningful point of differentiation for our business compared to other businesses. You know, since we started in the business with 4 stores, Hy-Vee came to the market. They didn't have any stores in the market. Target had maybe 1 liquor store, and now they have 25 or more in the market. Costco's added stores. Cub's added stores. Total went from 1 store when we started to several stores now. So the growth in liquor stores since we started has been tremendous. We've been fortunate, and every year I've owned the business, we've been able to grow the business.
Why do you think that is here? I mean, so many more liquor stores.
I think before I bought the business, before I got into the industry, and really before Total Wine came to the market, there were a lot of liquor stores in the market, but they weren't really value focused. They had product but they charge pretty high retails. And Total, when they came to the market, really changed the pricing structure in the market. And I think for them and for a lot of others, the business began to take off. And you also, part of it probably is they brought national attention to Minnesota, but Hy-Vee's a grocery chain. They have liquor stores that attach to their grocery stores. So as they decided to expand their grocery footprint, they added liquor stores. Mm-hmm. Target always had a liquor store strategy, but they weren't operating in Minnesota except in a very small way. And they decided, like many other states, to expand their footprint. So I don't know that Target or Hy-Vee were unique to Minnesota per se because of liquor stores. I think it's just an overall expansion strategy that they had. For us, in some sense, many people would say, what a crazy market to come into and grow. Mm-hmm. And I would say crazy, yes, but in a positive way. I believe in competition, and I think when you wake up every day and you're competing with people, it makes you better. It makes you work harder. It makes you be, more thoughtful and try and be smarter in what you do.
We're talking to John Halper from Top 10 Liquors. And you're not afraid to mention these competitors at all right now. You're just talking very frankly, well, they're there.
They're there. And we as we talked about earlier, we started with 4 stores and we added 1 to 2 stores each year, and we've now grown to 12.
That seems like a lot. For a business your size, add 2 stores, that's a high percentage, right?
Yeah, but I've put together, first of all, I've got a lot of large retail experience, having worked at Wilson's Leather, having worked at Target Corporation, having worked, when I was with the video game distributor, we worked with Walmart and Costco and Best Buy and Target. So we worked with a lot of large retailers, so I really had that mentality. But I've put together a team now that has multi-store experience. So I've got a really good team that helps me and helps everything we do in that growth. And it allows us to be able to function in a to add multiple units in a year and also to run multi-stores at the same time.
Let's see how fast you can do this. Do you know all your locations?
I do.
Go.
Andover, Blaine, Chanhassen, Cottage Grove, Osseo, Ramsey, St. Louis Park, Rosemount, Roseville, Vadnais Heights, Woodbury. I get them all?
I think that's 11. I might have miscounted. I don't know. There's so many you can't.
And now we've got more coming. So
you got more coming. Wow.
Yeah, so next year we'll be adding a new concept combined with a liquor store in Minnetonka. So that'll be a brand new concept, but it'll also have a Top 10 Liquors attached to it. We're adding a store in Oak Park Heights at some point next year as well. So we've got 2 more coming next year.
I do want to ask you about this. We have interesting laws in Minnesota. Some of these other retailers you mentioned, they have to have a separate entrance because that's the way we do it in Minnesota. But one of the biggest things that's happened since you started this is the Sunday sales. Did that affect your business in any way? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
Sunday sales have been great for us. And I think that there's no reason not to have Sunday sales. We took an attitude up front that once we were open on Sundays, we were going to try and win the day. We wanted to be the place people went on Sundays. So we started immediately doing a Sunday special. Every Sunday we have a wine, a beer, and a spirits hot item of the day.
Wow.
My goal with that item is that it's so hot that somebody sitting at home is going to get off their chair on a Sunday when they wouldn't normally shop and come to our stores and shop. And we've been really, really successful. They've become, on an hourly basis, they're probably our second most productive day of the week. And overall, they're really good days for us. So we love Sundays. We wish they were longer.
Right.
Sundays this time of year are really hard because we get to open at 11 by the law and the Vikings start playing at noon. So, here customers are trying to rush in and get home to watch the game.
Yeah.
We'd like to be open a little bit earlier. It would be really helpful so that people have the ability to shop and then go home and be able to watch the game in comfort.
And, with your vast retail experience, what's different, or is it harder to manage this sort of business with there's a lot of laws, right? How different is that from the other stuff you did?
some of the laws are more for me to manage than my team. And there's a lot of laws. Some of them are basic. We're only allowed to have one store in a city. You can't have multiple locations in a city. That's not hard to manage. It's just the reality of the Minnesota law. You can't have liquor and grocery in the same spot. They have to be separate with a separate entrance. That hasn't impacted us at all. As we open our new concept, there's a grocery element to it, and so we're going to have a separate entrance. But it's just something we do up front. Some of the hours are just hours-based. So Sundays we're allowed to open at 11 a.m. We have to close by 6 p.m. We just have to be compliant, so that's not hard. So most of the laws are not terribly difficult. The hardest of the laws, which we go out of our way to be compliant, is we can't sell to people who are under the age of 21 or people who are obviously intoxicated. And we dedicate a lot of resources as a company to being legally compliant. And we train our staff and we really go out of our way. That's probably the hardest of the laws. You've got to train your staff to card people and come up with a system that is really fail-proof, because if it's not fail-proof, somebody's going to fail it. And you don't want to. You don't want to be the guy or the company that sells to somebody who's underage and then something terrible happens. You really want to be careful. The more complicated the law is not selling to somebody who's obviously intoxicated.
Yeah.
That's tough. Somebody walks in, they've had a couple beers, they're probably not obviously intoxicated. Sometimes you get people who've had a lot more to drink, and it's harder to tell.
Sure.
So we've got to work with our staff, and we do a lot of training about how to identify. That's probably the hardest of the laws, but most of them aren't that difficult.
You're all about growing your business in a socially conscious manner. What does that mean, and how does that manifest?
Well, we're all part of this big community known as Earth and the world, and we bring that down to our local communities. And, we all want to operate in a way that makes society better. And, looking at things like diversity and inclusion are really important for us. We want to reflect the communities we're in. We want to treat people fairly. Then you layer on top this whole concept of unconscious bias and, wanting to have policies and procedures that are really great to protect the company, but also protect our customers. So as we operate in our communities, we want to be good citizens within those communities. We want to be respectful of our customers. And we want to also help our staff grow and be really open-minded about the types of people that are coming into the stores, and be very, very open-minded. But being socially responsible for us is also being philanthropic. And we as a company, every store gets a budget on a monthly basis. So when there's things happening in their community, they can donate a gift card or they can donate something to be part of what's happening in their community. And then we as a company for years have been aligned with Children's Cancer Research Fund. I have a sister who's a childhood cancer survivor, which it really got my parents started being involved with raising money for cancer research. But, once you have kids and you look at your kids, you don't ever want to hear the news that your kids have cancer. And so we organizationally dedicate resources, time, and energy to helping raise money for CCRF. I've been a long-term board member at CCRF. So we give back in that way. And some of it's really fun. A couple years ago at their benefit, we donated a trip to Napa Valley. A family paid $25,000 to go on the trip. All those dollars went to cancer research.
Wow.
And then we sent our sommelier on that trip this past year to take this couple and some friends along, and they had an amazing time. So it's really great when we can bring all these elements together and operate. But that's a little bit how we sort of think about being a socially responsible company.
That's fantastic. And I don't have to tell anybody that's a parent, but while they're living in your house, mine are 14 and 11, you never stop checking on them. And when they're sick, terrible things go through your mind, right?
That's exactly right. And, as my mother said many years ago, and we still feel today, we're never going to get rid of cancer. But hopefully someday when you hear a diagnosis of cancer for yourself or for your child, you don't immediately think of death. You think about life. And there's many illnesses that we've been able to beat, and there's amazing research that's going on. And this just helps continue that research. So hopefully we get there at some point.
We talked a little bit about your expansion that's coming up, the expansion you've already done, the expansion that's coming up next year. That's awesome. What is your vision for Top 10 Liquors?
Right now, when you look at sort of what is our point of differentiation, let's start there, and then we'll get more to where we want to go. We want to do two things as an organization. We invest a lot in our staff and their training and development so that we have great customer service in our stores. A lot of the categories we're in are intimidating, and we want to make sure that our staff is there to help customers on that journey. So we do a lot of amazing things to train our team. For example, there's all sorts of certifications for beer, Cicerone, and wine, sommelier, and all sorts of stuff. When people are certified or pass their tests, we pay them twice the amount of the test. And we do that because it's their own personal development, but we also benefit, and our customers benefit from that. So we really, really heavily invest in their training and development. We just hired a new head of stores this year. She comes from, she's developed wine training programs and is considered in Minnesota one of the leaders in product knowledge training. So we really are not just talking the talk, but walking the walk as far as having a really great staff. The other side of what we do is we want great product at a value. So we spend a lot of time trying to find amazing product for our customers that we offer at a value. And, there's a lot of places you can get great product, but a lot of times you're being overcharged. We focus very, very heavily on making sure that we're competitive on pricing across the board and that we find unique items that are really well priced for our customers so they're getting true value. But we have a staff that's trained to help the customer understand and navigate their shopping journey. So that's kind of how we operate. And, what's our long-term vision is we want to be the largest by volume liquor store chain in Minnesota. And it may take us 10 years to get there, but we're driven every day to work towards achieving that.
You talked a little bit about the philanthropy of the company, but you and your wife, Jill, were recognized for your philanthropic endeavors. What else do you do besides, what's through the company?
Well, CCRF is really our major charity, and we were very fortunate. They honored us earlier this year for a lot of the work we do, and that was really, really awesome. My kids also went to the Halper Jewish Day School, and my wife and I, along with another couple, are being honored this spring for all the work we did for that organization. So
very cool.
It's an honor to do it, and then we go help raise money so that they can keep progressing along and doing what they do.
Part of what you do is elevate leaders from underrepresented backgrounds. Why is that important to you?
Well, we want to continue to elevate people from underrepresented backgrounds, and I think it's a work in progress for our company and everybody else. So we certainly try and build a diverse work environment within our culture and our company. Frankly, I don't think we're there yet. I think we have a long way to go, but we continue to work at it every day. I think it's important, as going back to the socially responsible company, and I think that if we can build a diverse, inclusive work environment, we become a better company, and we help challenge other companies to meet the direction we're going and hopefully become better as well.
When I say the last 2 years, I mean, depending on when you're listening to this, I could say the last 19, 20 months, right? It's changed us all for sure. And by the way, I want to thank you for being there for people for the last 19 or 20 months too. But as far as the business goes, what were the challenges? Did anything change? I mean, how are you coming out of COVID? If we are coming out of COVID.
I don't know that we're out of COVID
right,
yet.
Exactly.
I think that maybe what we're seeing is that COVID's going to be ongoing, and we just have to figure out how to navigate life with it. I would say that we grew up as a company through COVID. I mean, we were already doing a lot of amazing things, and a lot of our plans were put on hold initially because we had to react to what was going on, how we were going to serve customers and how we were going to keep our staff safe and everything else. There were immediate challenges getting product for our customers. There were immediate challenges how we were going to set up a safe environment for our customers to shop. We were very proactive on both fronts, and I think it helped our business tremendously. as a leadership team, we met regularly to make sure that we were ahead of the game and not reacting, but being proactive. And we last year successfully opened three stores in the middle of COVID. So,
Sure.
We were able to, keep on track for our business expansion, even with everything going on. And it was very challenging, but a lot of fun to successfully open those stores. So that was part of it. This year's been, the evolution of COVID, and it's been very interesting and challenging as a business owner, not just for us, but for many business owners. We as a company made the decision several months ago to raise our minimum wage to $15. We made, our effective rate for most of our staff is $20 or higher. And we did that early on because we were seeing the challenges at retaining and hiring people. And those challenges continue today. I mean, it's every business that we experience is having challenge, whether it's probably iHeartRadio, Top 10 Liquors, our accounting firm, our marketing firm.
Sure.
It's really across the board. And it's really probably our biggest business hazard going into holiday right now is making sure that we have a quality staff that meets our service standards, meets what our customers expect. And, we spend every day trying to find great people to work for us. So that's definitely been an evolution, something we hadn't experienced before. And the other real challenge we're having this year that we're trying to navigate is the supply chain challenges everybody's going through. I mean, you hear about them for Target and Walmart, and it impacts liquor stores as well. A lot of the categories that usually flow plentifully are in short supply this year. Things like sparkling wine, tequilas, scotches, bourbons. Many of them are very challenged inventory-wise right now. And the way we respond as a business is we are very proactive in how we buy product. We go out of our way when there's an opportunity to buy for several months of supply so that we're able to meet the needs of our customers. Mostly we succeed, but we've literally had distributors tell us that products coming in, we write a big order and their container doesn't show up.
Yeah.
So there's just things beyond any of our ability to control, and it'll be a wild ride for the next 6 weeks through holiday, which is really our busiest 6 weeks of the year, between our staffing challenges and product opportunities to see how it plays out.
You talked about how you give a budget to your stores to be able to go out and do stuff in the community. Do you have any examples of how you've touched people in the community in different ways through that?
Every store has their unique experience, and a lot of times, the way they touch is they've got long-term customers, and sometimes, somebody will be going through a family hardship and their friends will be doing some kind of benefit, and they'll come in and ask us, and we'll give them a gift card that they can, do in their silent auction or whatever we're doing. And we certainly know those things may not bring all the money in the world to those people, but it helps them a little bit. Other times it may be a church that's doing a fundraiser that just, needs some product to raise some money, and so they'll participate in that type of thing. So it really, really varies by community and by what stores do. And, I think the side of it we see the most is when customers come in and they so appreciate our willingness to support the things they're involved in as much as we can. It's hard because we get a lot of requests and there's a lot of demands, and each store kind of has to sort through how they do it, and we like giving our stores the autonomy to make those decisions. I love that you do
that. That's great.
Yeah, and I think they appreciate it as well. But then they also get the challenge of figuring out how to give that money out and have it make a difference.
True. What else should the Twin Cities know about Top 10 Liquors?
I think that there's a lot of liquor stores out there, and a lot of them do really solid jobs, and we're proud to be part of that community. We're locally owned, and we are very, very supportive of other locally owned businesses. We're one of the biggest supporters of the Craft Brewers Guild. In fact, they've been on a mission for a long time to sell more of their own product, and particularly during COVID when they were struggling to do anything, And Top 10 Liquors has been an open proponent of their being able to sell as much of their own product as they want. I don't ever look at it as taking business away from us. I look at it as supporting our customers buying where they want to buy, and in the long run, helping us grow as well. Because if you go to a tap room and you like it, and you want to bring home a 6-pack and you might not go back there, but you'll probably come to my store and buy it the next time.
Cool.
So I think that it's really helpful for the broader community when we support other locally owned businesses, and we're very proud to be a Minnesota Twin Cities owned company.
What's your website?
www.top10liquors.com.
Just TEN, I assume.
Yep, TOPTEN, liquors, LIQUORS.com.
And do you have all your inventory on there and stuff like that? What else is on there?
You can find out things that are going on in our stores, tasting events. You can find out what we're promoting. We keep people informed on things that are coming up with us as a company. We've got our inventory there, so if you want to go to a store and make a purchase, you're able to see that and plan it up front and also execute that purchase. You also can be directed from there to shipped in Instacart if you want to be delivered at home.
Okay.
So we work with both of them, and they're great partners in that effort for us.
How about if you want a job? I mean, I guess that's a bigger question.
Absolutely.
The labor market for you, how's that working out for you?
We're constantly trying to hire people.
Yeah.
Like every minute we're out there, looking at different channels and working our way through it. And, through our website, you can apply to come work for us. And frankly, we love to get people in that want to learn about product and want to expand their knowledge.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. And we do a lot of product tastings with our staff.
That's the only way you can do it, John. That's
exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, it's a very fun environment for people to work. It's social. The team has a great time working in our stores. So if you're looking for work, we'd love to get you in.
Perfect. John Halper, Top 10 Liquors, top10liquors.com. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
That was Twin Cities CEO You Should Know, powered by iHeartMedia.